Fragments of Silicon, now new fall edition.
Welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon, the Daylight Interviews. Apologies if I sound different. I'm using my phone because I'm having some laptop problems that I'll probably get into next week or Sunday, depending on how long this lasts. But anyway, so I'll have our guests introduce themselves.
All right, I'll go first. My name is Busayo Ajao. I'm in charge of marketing, communications, and content writing at Visionaries.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kunal Oogorah. I'm the founder of Visionaries and the game designer for Business Heroes Food Truck Simulation.
Guys, my name is Hongjing. My responsibilities is in game development and making sure the game is fun and playable.
Okay. Right. So how we like to get started here is we like to get to know the people behind the studio, the game, and all that business. And we start by asking this in video games, both on a personal and a professional level.
Okay, so I'll pretty much go first. I've always been really into gaming, right, from my very early days. But what got me into gaming professionally, I guess you could take it back to maybe 2000 and 2003 when we first got our first PC, right, at home. Back then, I played a lot of strategy, business management games at the time, and it was at that point I really started getting interested in business. So how it actually happened is, we got the PC, right, and before then I was playing Street Fighter, Contra, and all of that. But when the PC came, switched over to Ages of Empire, Need for Speed, and games like that. I was really into Need for Speed, and I started dreaming of maybe one day becoming a race car driver, until one day I tried my hands at my dad's Peugeot 504 car, and wrecked the car, and that was the end of that dream. So from there, I switched over to more business management games, quote unquote safer games, right? You basically can't crash cars while playing business management games. So switched over to business management games, Monopoly Tycoon, Mall Tycoon, and a bunch of other games. So that was really what got me interested in business, entrepreneurship, and trying to grow things, right? So fast forward a few years, I got out of school, and I got a job, project managing a business newspaper for entrepreneurs, executives, and investors. It was called The Weekly Impact back then. We would write articles about business, about entrepreneurship, and also interview a lot of people, right? So I got my first taste of real life business and what it takes to really run a business and grow a business on that job. Fast forward a few years, I met Kunal, and now I'm doing two things I like, right? Writing business related stuff and playing games.
Indeed. And I think, if I recall in the pre-show, you mentioned that you all are all over the world. Where? How many
Okay.
people are the Visionaries, and where are you all located? In terms of like countries.
All right, Kunal, I think you should take that, right?
Yeah. As I mentioned before, I'm in the Middle East. We have Hongjing, our lead dev is in Singapore. Adam, our other dev, is in London. Our environment artist and like I would say artist in general is in Pakistan. Her name is Shehar. And then our music composer is David. He's in Virginia, US. Our character artist is in Vienna. His name is Z. And then we have Busayo in Nigeria, who's in charge of content writing for the game and marketing for Visionaries. So yeah, we are all over the world actually.
I suppose that's a good thing given what's been going on the past couple of years. Now,
Definitely. Yeah, we started remote, so we did not have to transit into this remote work environment or work style. So it's quite easy for us to work like independently without having an office.
right. That being said, given your international span and scope, how does your workflow work? How do you get things done, basically?
Right. Okay. So I'll just do a quick background about myself before I get into the details of the company. I've always wanted to be in the gaming industry. My studies have all been towards going into the game industry at the end, like my first degree, my second degree. So I've tried a few startups before, tech startups, and I got a lot of experience when setting up those companies. And the main difference with Visionaries is we have a goal, we have a vision. We want to create this, I would call it metaverse, or this simulation where anyone can go in and start a business, right? It's like a living world where NPCs and other players have needs, and you would go in and you would try to fulfill that needs, and you need to be that need, and you need to be profitable to be able to survive and continue to play. So that's our end goal, our vision. So that makes everyone work towards this vision, and we are pretty much independent. Everyone knows what they need to do. We have weekly meetings. Some are like informal meetings. Some will go through the game and review and polish and review and polish. The way we distribute the work is by KPIs, right? We all have a certain target to meet, and that's basically what we work towards.
Makes sense. And you're not the only what they call virtual studio that we've had on the program, especially an international one. Like, hell, we are the same thing, just localized to one country, but we are all over the U.S., so you know how that goes. Anyway, so I suppose we should get into the game itself, which is Business Heroes Food Truck Simulator. And I suppose my first question here is, why a food truck?
Okay, I'll take that. So we wanted to make business simulation games to empower people, right? So you play a game, sometimes you're influenced by that game, if especially if it was in a young age. And in the future, we want to kind of empower people or inspire them to start their own business. And a food truck is a very reachable business. With $3,000 or $4,000, you can start with the bare minimum, and that's why we picked food truck as a business instead of going for like a bigger project, like for example a car company or an airport, or anything unreachable to the public. We are trying to avoid.
I'm like, I really couldn't speak to that because I don't know how reachable, like the food trucks are, quite frankly. Like,
yeah, so we did some research around the world actually, and you can start like in the US. You would be able to buy a bike, I think, for 1,200, like a burger bike, a cycle, and that would be enough for you to start from the bare minimum and the basics.
right. Okay, so that's, let's say, one aspect of inspiring people. Now, another facet of, business simulation, especially PC-born ones, is, let's say, depth of complexity. It's like they can range from super casual to very, very in-depth. And I'm wondering, at what level is Food Truck Simulator here? Like, if somebody plays through this game, will they get an actual idea of what it's like to run a food truck?
Yeah, that's a very hard question. We face this problem. I call it like game literacy, right? You have people who can play EVE Online, which is a super complex game, and it would require months to learn the ins and outs of the game. And you have other less complex game or casual game, as you put it, where it take you just a day to understand everything and what's happening. I would put business heroes like, if you draw a line, it will be around between a quarter and half of that line, where the most complex is EVE Online and the less complex is something like Super Mario. Now, that's from my perspective. I don't know if the guys would agree with me, but in terms of complexity of the mechanics in the game, they are currently very close to real life. I was lucky; I got into an MBA very recently, and they actually use business simulation games to teach us different concepts. But these are all Excel sheet based games, like numbers. You calculate the numbers and you put in the numbers and you get results back. Now, the mechanics are very close to those that you would use at the university level. However, we wrapped it around a fun and entertaining experience for our players.
I suppose, like, in what fashion? How is this number of games, fun and entertaining? What did you do to gussy it up, so to speak?
Right. So I think the environment itself, the way it happens, we are trying to put some humor into it, and the feedback you get from your customers in general. We are trying to make it funny, like quote unquote. It's not easy. Making something fun and entertaining is very hard, and. But we're trying to do that. Other than that, the process of building a product, right? So basically making your burger, setting the price of your burger, then upgrading your burger stand and all those things. These processes, they are all linked to what you would do in real life to increase your sales and therefore increase your profit. And
Go ahead.
And so other than that, we've implemented.
You were saying?
like events, so the
hello?
events.
Adam, you're the one who's having problems.
Oh boy.
I don't think he's hearing us.
Yeah. This
That was
happens.
weird.
You good now?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Don't know what happened there, but yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I think I caught you off.
Yeah. As I was saying, like, in terms of specifics, what systems are you keeping track of here? Is it, like just food expenses? Do you also have to keep track of, say, licenses to the city and all that stuff?
Right. So so we at the beginning, you start the game, you can pick different countries. And if you, for example, if you pick UK, you will start in London. In Canada, you'll start in the capital, Ontario, and then in the US, you'll be in United DC. So all the price are synced to the price of raw material in that country. So we're keeping, we are tracking the price, how much when you're selling, how much profit you're making on each burger. We're tracking the rental for the location, the maintenance for your burger truck, your employee, how much you're paying them, your marketing. If you're buying excess inventory and you can't store it, that goes to waste, and that too we are tracking. Okay. On the finance side, we have a loan system integrated where nothing complex, but it's very close to how a bank would calculate whether they will give you a loan or not. Basically, it calculates the price of your company and then the value of the company. Sorry, and then decides whether it's your high risk or low risk business, and they will adjust the interest rate based on that. Now, there are even more complex simulation within the game where the population happiness depends on the economic factor. If the GDP is going up, people will be happier and they will go out and spend more. If the GDP is going down, they will spend less. Therefore, you have less client, and you need to kind of adjust. Less customers, and then you'll have to adjust your location where you're going to be and or your customer target. We have like several, I think 7 or 9 customers, different segments, and they all have different desires, different wants, and you would need to try to fulfill that. So I would say it's not super casual. Everything works together, and it's more of a strategy game.
Yeah. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever played them, but the Restaurant Empire series.
Yeah. I had to look at the Restaurant Empire series. I would say except for the building side, it's very close. We've gone deeper into the financial side of it, where you can see your balance sheet, and it's very close to what you would see in real life, and then your income and expense report.
Right. And I suppose on the flip side of things, is there anything like notable that you decided to not track or include because it was too complex, or couldn't integrate it, or anything along those lines?
Well, yes, we had the cold storage system. Basically, it's like the inventory system. We are planning to do that way in the future, where your ingredient will expire and you need to keep track of how much you buy and when you bought it. So that was a lot of work for us, and we decided to keep it for future releases. That's one thing, which is the inventory system. And then we have a couple of progressions that we decided not to add at the moment. For example, firing employees, keeping track of like different skills for employees and all those things. We haven't implemented. And that also adds to the challenge, though. Like you have to you have an employee, you need to make sure you keep them happy. Otherwise, you could just like make them unhappy and get a new one.
Indeed. And you've mentioned the meta goal of the game. That is to educate while being entertaining. But in terms of like the in-game goal, is there one? Is there like, are you seeking to like own a fleet of food trucks, become the food truck tycoon, let's say, or is it more of a sandbox approach?
Maybe Busayo can take that.
Okay, so yeah, so there's a story, right, in the game, and it's about Master Lee. So Master Lee is the wealthiest entrepreneur who ever lived, right? And he's old, never married, doesn't have any kids, and he has tried to find a successor, right? Someone who'll take over his business and run it the way he ran it, right? And it's been difficult because Master Lee he has an idealistic view, right, of entrepreneurship. So he calls the type of entrepreneur who he would want to hand his business over to. He calls them business heroes. So this type of entrepreneur is not just conscious about profits, but also conscious about societal impact and employee development, right? So it's not just business growth and business profits, but are you impacting the society? Are you taking care of your employees properly and all of that? So he's looking for an entrepreneur like that who he can hand his business over to, and he has tried different ways, right, to get to find that kind of entrepreneur or that kind of business person, and he has failed. So he decided to set up Business Heroes Food Truck Simulation to reach the ends of the earth, right? Calling everybody who is interested to enter the simulation and try and show whether they are worthy of taking over Master Lee's business, right? So there is the goal of growing your business, owning a set of advanced food trucks. So you upgrade as you go along, as your business grows, as you make more profits. You acquire more locations, acquire more food trucks, make more money, invest in your employees, hopefully invest in the society, and at the end of the day, we'll see if you're worthy of being one of the potentials who will take over Master Lee's business. So that's like the goal. That's the ultimate goal, to join the leagues of business heroes, from which Master Lee could pick you to take over his empire, right? So that's it.
Okay. And what kind of time frame are we talking about here? Like, how long do you have in game to build this food truck empire?
So we have two different game modes. You have the career game mode, where I guess we haven't finalized it yet, so I don't want to put expectations, but I'm assuming it would be around 100 hours. I'm hoping for them to achieve that. So that's a goal that what we have, and then you have the leaderboard system where you have 360 days in game, and you need to make the maximum value for your company, right? So it's like basically making more profit and expanding as much as possible. So then you would be ranked globally. Yeah.
Okay. That does sound interesting. Like, gotta admit, I can't think of many strategy business sim games that dabble in leaderboards.
We have Off-World Trading Company, which we play. So for our team building, we enjoy playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a leaderboard, not by the value of your company, but the number of match you've won in multiplayer game.
Like I've heard of Off-World, but yeah, I've never played that one. At least not yet.
It's a really great game. You should try it. It's really
Yeah.
good.
So many games, not so little time. Like
Yeah, true.
yeah. Anyway,
Sure.
now in terms of your business hero, are they a character or an avatar?
That's an avatar. So basically, it's you. That's why on the splash page we have them facing the other way. It can be anyone. We don't have specific characters representing each hero.
Okay, fair enough. And what sort of customization offerings do they have?
So at the moment we don't have anything as customization for the avatar. It's you yourself. You would play when you sign in the game. It would automatically pick up your Steam login and grab your I would say your profile picture from there, and that's it. That's the CEO of the company. And we don't offer a lot of customization. Our focus is more on the actual business management side. And as you know, our first game for the company, we're trying to keep the scope quite low. Yeah.
Okay. I get what you're saying. It's just I know there will be people that are disappointed in that. Because there are a lot of people who like to customize their their things. What about the food truck? Can you customize that in terms of like its appearance?
So yes, you can upgrade your food trucks. We have different sizes, and they all have different I would say specifications. And you can have add-ons to your food truck, which would increase the range, increase the appeal for it, or increase your I would say burger quality or your service quality. Now that's on the side of in game. Outside of the game, we are thinking of adding more stands in the future, like different style, like as a pack. It will come as a pack. Like you have this pack of different stand, and then a different pack of another stand. Now this will probably come in way in the future, but for now, the add-ons that we have in game, these are the customized version that players can get.
And along those lines, when you have a food truck, are you dedicated to just like burgers or hot dogs or kebabs, or can you offer multiple foods?
Currently, it's just burgers. So you're a specialist in making burgers.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can there are different types. As I mentioned, you have different customer segments, and they have different taste. So if you make a burger for example, for a student and sell it somewhere like more corporate where you will have less student, the managers or the staff or employees won't like it. So things like that. They won't like it, but they might not like the quality.
Okay, and tweaking things a bit, can you offer different kinds of burgers, or how do you adjust for the particular foot traffic then?
Right. So you need to adjust your recipe for your burger. We the customers would give you feedback whether it's like not enough ingredient, too much ingredients, too expensive, and based on that feedback, you would need to adjust to the location you are in or the customer segment you're serving. Sometimes you will have events where, for example, you have in the national park, you'll have a lot of students, which is rare. Then you would adjust your recipe to that. The other thing we have is drinks. This is one of the most profitable part of a burger business, usually, where you get a huge markup on. And we are thinking of adding more, I would say they are called complementary products.
Mm-hmm.
But that will come in the future. We are definitely open to that.
Okay. And you mentioned drinks. What kind of drinks are on tap? And specifically, is there an alcohol component to this?
No, we don't have anything alcohol. No. So one other thing is we want 12-year-old, and I would say maybe so the bare minimum, someone who is 12 should be able to play the game. Right? It doesn't matter if they understand the whole concept or not, but they should be able to play the game. And then maybe 16 onward, they would have a holistic understanding of business in general. All the business concept and everything. So we don't have anything related to that would put the game as I would say parents advisory, something. I don't know the rating.
Fair enough. That would be a complication there. Not to mention, that is another layer of complexity because going to the real world, you need a liquor license to sell alcohol, and that's another expense, and such things can be overcomplicated. Anyway, so the game is currently aiming for a early access release, if I remember from the Steam page. How far away is that?
I would say this is a very hard question. We've had to change the date once, so I would prefer not to give any. 2022 definitely.
That's
in terms of. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair enough answer.
Yeah, in terms of month, we are shooting for mid year, but it's hard. Yeah, hard to tell.
Indeed, and what state of early access are you looking to launch in?
So we really want to focus on the multiplayer part of the game, so therefore in the multiplayer in early access we are hoping multiplayer will be fully functional, and matchmaking will be fully functional. Other than that, we will keep some of the features that I mentioned earlier we will release it during the early access phase. And we have a very high, how would I put it, high target for early access. It's almost like a ready game that would be shipping, and we would just make sure we polish as much as we can during the early access phase. But most of the features that would give them a good and I would say entertaining experience should be there.
Okay. That is a goodly state to enter. And do you have a, let's say, early access target? Do you plan to have the game spend 2 months, 2 weeks? That what is the timeline of early access?
In early access, we're hoping to be for it to be 6 months.
Okay.
yeah, so that's the plan, and then after that 6 months, we'll go for the full release.
All right.
Because
And
we do want. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, we do want to have a good product, something that is complete in nature, and move to our next game. Think of it as we are using this game as a stepping stone for our company. And yeah.
an interesting approach, because I know there are some companies out there that will not just have an early access release, a 1.0 release, but they will support the game with a whole bunch of post-release content. So it sounds like when the game is released, that it's going to be more or less finished.
Yeah, I think we think maybe we will only release. So after the final release, we will release patches for any fixes we need. Maybe 1 or 2 years of support after that. But then we will move to at the same time we'll be working on our second game.
Okay. And have you figured out your pricing model yet?
Honestly, that's always on my mind. No, I have a plan, right? But it keeps changing depending on the market. Currently, there are so many options on the market. Like, yeah, we haven't finalized our pricing model at the moment.
Well, I suppose there's still time in that regard. So,
yeah, we want to hear from you guys.
I'm like, honestly, I'm thinking like the $30 range. What about you guys?
I'm honestly not sure. I don't play enough strategy games to really judge the value.
I'd say at first appearance it would look less than 30, but if it has the amount of gameplay and complexity that you've said it actually has, that would be reasonable.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Nice.
Anyway,
yeah.
Now in terms of the specific build, is it Windows only, or are there plans for Mac or Linux versions?
At the moment, we will be releasing for Windows. Mac is definitely on the is an option, and yeah, that's for now.
Okay, fair enough. And just finally from me, can you go into any details about your second game yet?
Not yet, but we do brainstorm quite often. Like maybe every quarter we will talk about what sort of features we would like. It's like we want to add these features in this game, but we know we have to release a game, and if we keep piling on features into it, it's never gonna end. So we keep a list of nice things that we think would be cool for a business simulation game, because that's what we are specialized in. That's what we'll be doing more in the future. And yeah, so we discuss about potential of the game,
Okay,
but not the actual name or theme of it.
That's fine. I mean, that is a perfectly reasonable approach to things, especially keeping scope manageable. We have had people on the program who let that get out of control, and it took them, say, 3 to 5 years to complete a single game. Like, such is ambition. Anyway, I will see if my cohorts here have any final questions for you.
I think all mine have been answered.
Yeah, I think it's good. I'm good.
Okay. Right. So I want to thank you all for joining us today and taking time out of your schedules, especially being here at presumably weird hours. And
I think Hongjing is the only one who is struggling in terms of hours. We usually meet around this time. Our weekly meetings are around the same time period.
All right, good to know. Good to know. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the game, and hopefully everything goes smoothly with the early access and the 1.0 release, and maybe we'll have you on the program when your next game's ready to be talked about. In the meantime, the game is Business Heroes Food Truck Simulator. It's currently not available, but the Steam page is up, so you can wishlist it on Steam today. Anyway, so that'll about do it for the this episode of the Fragments of Silicon. Sadly, it looks like the Friday multiplayer thing is going to have to be canceled because I'm dealing with some computer issues. Hopefully those will be resolved in time for the Sunday reviews. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, until then, I shall wish you good gaming.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for that.